Before we get deeper in Web3, let's give us an understanding of what is Web 1 and what is Web 2.
Yeah, so it's all started with, met like 50 years ago or more than that. I think it all started with our computer science industry. So when we talk about Web 1.0, that's when, that was the emergence of internet. And when we started actually reading on internet, that was the start. So that's what we call Web 1.0, right? And then when we talk about Web 2.0, that's for social media. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, right? All these platforms we are using today, it's all Web 2.0. And this is where we talk about we can now read and write on internet, right? So that was Web 2.0. And I think you're now, because we talked about Web 3.0, so shall I continue on that? Or your question was only Web 1.0 or 2.0?
Yeah, no, definitely continue with what is Web 3.0 now.
Okay, because it's kind of like sequence, right? So as I said, web 1.0 is when we started reading on internet. Web 2.0 is social media, when we could read and write on internet. And now when we talk about Web 3.0, the whole idea is now we can actually transfer value on the internet. And that's where these technologies, Internet of Things, blockchain, quantum computing, metaverse, NFTs, artificial intelligence, all these emerging technology, which has been around for a while, but in a very niche stage, and we are making more development and improvement in these areas. So that's where we will see use of these technology is the emergence of Web 3.0. And, like the simple example we can take, right? Many years ago, it was all about you kind of send a snail mail, right? And then when email came in the picture, that was like, okay, now when we send an email, there's no as such thing called email on, I mean, we don't say that cross-border email or cross-border browsing session, right? It's all globally, and you can be anywhere and access all these devices. So the same thing right now when we talk about, transfer of value. So let's say we talk about payments. Today, when we talk about payments, it's still, payments are cross-border payments, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It can be as simple as sending an email. So that's the concept behind Web 3.0.
Also in Web 3.0, we don't have the middleman, right?
Yep.
It removes the middleman.
That follows to blockchain technology only, but even though other technologies like metaverse, Internet of Things, all these are also part of Web 3.0.
Okay, so let's just talk about blockchain. So everything Web 3.0 literally sits on blockchain.
Actually, Web 3.0, when we say that, it's not only blockchain technology. Of course, blockchain is one of the technology that's part of Web 3.0, but we will be using other technologies as well. So when we talk about blockchain, that's nothing but basically a ledger, a database ledger, which is distributed and which is on, um, you know, on different computers which are connected with each other. So it's not like there's any centralized place where you store all the data, right? The name itself is block and chain. So basically, you take the information, you store that information on a block, right? Then that
Right.
block is connected with another
Another
block, and that
block.
block is connected with another block.
Yeah.
But all these blocks are at many different computers, right? So basically, many different computers are connected with it, and then they validate the transaction. So not just one central party validating the transaction; it is many, many different parties validate the transaction, and based on that consensus mechanism, once the transaction is validated, that's when it is stored in the block, right? So it's just like a distributed way of storing information versus just having information centralized place for information. And that's where we say, right, like Facebook, YouTube, like all these big companies out there or applications we use today. There is this thing now in the Europe, there's a GDPR regulations, right? And this was all around like our consumer privacy, right? And the idea is all this information was stored as centralized resources, and then it's much easier for hackers to hack it. And then consumers suffer because of their information is stolen, versus if we have it on blockchain, which is on a distributed ledger, the security is much higher, and it's not like just one party controls it.